So, we talk about the gender gap all the time. We talk about the fact that men have an advantage because traditionally it was our job to provide for our wives and our families. So, by the logic of that, we got preference with jobs because we have families to take care of. Now that families and marriage is something of the past, now we all have an equal shot at jobs. But my argument is and will always be that the pay gap is it doesn't show favoritism towards men or women because of something. The forefathers, the people that are rich, the 6% of the population that controls, over 50% of the money that's in the market right now. Those are families and people that have corporations that existed since the beginning of the establishment of America. My argument number one is if you take those men that have been wealthy since the beginning of our country, and since they have more than 50% of the wealth, I bet if we took their money out of the equation, that it would show that women actually make more money. Why? Because statistically, it's already been shown that women make more money than men between 20 and 30. And men don't start making money until our mid 30s to 40s. Simultaneously, it's easier for women to become millionaires simply by marrying a millionaire. A man could never just simply marry, not to say he couldn't, but it's much harder for a man to become a millionaire by marriage versus a woman. So those are the things, in my opinion, that are not talked about because if you do, then it would deflate the argument. And that's something simple. Is that saying that men don't have advantages and things like that? No. But women have the ultimate advantage when it comes to employment because the majority of women work in HR. Even though there are more male CEOs, there are more women in HR. There's only one CEO of a company, but there are multiple women in companies, and those women get to hire and fire men. So they have the power over who is employed in the company and who is destroyed in the company. CEO doesn't even have the power to hire or fire. He's just the face of the company. Matter of fact, the shareholders have more power than the CEO. And the CEO is usually just the face. Do you know that the majority of CEOs, I believe 60 to 80% of CEOs are above 6 feet, even though only 10% of the population is over 6 feet. So these men that are also wanted by women, these tall men that are strong by appearance, and these are the men that women want to lead their families, and these are the men that companies want to lead their companies. It's not my opinion, it's fact. These are all Googleable things. Now, outside of the CEO and the top 5 to 10% of men, you hear this argument that for every dollar a man makes, that a woman makes, 60 or 80 cents. And that's the whole barometer of why we say that men, or have a preference or that it's a sexist society. Okay, I'll give you that. For every dollar that, men make, women make this. Okay, well, for every 40-hour shift that a man works, women only works 36.3. So that's 12% less. That's 12% less. So for every 100% that a man puts in a work week, a woman puts in 88%. Okay, let's take that back to the dollar. For every dollar a man makes, a woman makes 80 cents. I mean, if you juxtapose the hours worked over the dollars and cents, then it's almost parallel. It's almost parallel. You can even look at it here, because I've been researching this for a while. It talks about the gap doesn't take into account that the average man works more hours than the average woman. Now, let me see. It's the same thing. So, now it might be different in the UK. I was reading this article, but also too, for some reason now housework for some reason is seen as unpaid work within the confines of a relationship. I don't understand how housework is seen as work, and then women will say that's unpaid work. Okay, well, listening to a woman is unpaid work because we get paid to be the therapist. Being nice and holding our composure is unpaid work, and then we don't get paid for being bodyguards and for risking our lives for women. So if coming home and taking care of the children is unpaid work, then listening to a woman's day, making her feel safe is, then we need to be paid the same fee as a bodyguard. Now I ask you this: if women want to be paid for housework, then I have to ask you, what's worth more, a person cleaning a house or a bodyguard? Who gets paid more? All right, well, if you guys want to be paid for housework, then you need to pay men the same and equivalent amount that bodyguards get paid, if that's what you expect of us, because that's fair, right? It's unpaid work for a man to die or risk his life or to try to fight for his woman and family. I mean, that's not what I personally believe, but if women want to be paid for taking care of their own children or cleaning up their own house, which is something, it's just, I don't know.